All right, welcome back to another video in this exhaustingly long series. But I am pretty impressed with the progress in, realistically the short amount of time, especially because, I'm trying to explain stuff as I go, so inherently I think it takes a little bit longer, and the pressure's on. But yeah, let's get into it. So I'm thinking what's next is we do have at least the bare minimum of events working. Obviously, we don't really have a proper event detail page. We're just kind of putting, I think, the description here. There's definitely more we could do. But I think before digging into that, it might be nice to tie these two things together. And what I'm thinking is we should be able to see a list of essentially events within this view here. So let's start to figure out how that could work. So we're going to just go to this would be the venue detail component, not the screen itself, because the screen is, this and everything else. Everything in here is inside this detail component. Yeah, okay, we have some to-dos for launching URLs. That's pretty cool. How does this work again? This is a single child scroll view with a column. All right. So what I want to essentially do is have a list of upcoming events underneath this. So let's actually just kind of stub something in. We'll put some text that says upcoming events. Or maybe something like next event, no, let's just do upcoming events because might as well. So let's just put that in there and just see if it looks good. It kind of does. The thing is we have sort of this wrap that we've been doing as we go, which kind of makes it annoying because then we have to do padding multiple times. But it allows us to, if we did padding on this whole thing, we wouldn't be able to do anything edge to edge. So I think it's fine. So what were we doing? Or were we? Oh, you know what? We did think about this, and it should actually be here if we want to be within that wrapper. So there we go. Upcoming events. Let's give this a style. We'll just use theme of context.text theme dot. This is probably like headline small, maybe. Yeah, that looks fine to me. I'm trying to use theme of context, theme stuff as much as possible, because then when we do get to actually making this look beautiful, we don't have to go through everything and change it. We just kind of have to, for the most part, update our sort of like global styles, essentially. All right, so we have our upcoming events. Yay! Okay, let's think about this. So in our event, I'm on the back end now, in our event endpoint. Oh, we don't even have event endpoints. We only have the event template endpoint. Okay, let's get an event endpoint going. All right, I'm going to copy essentially everything from here down to here. For now, we'll eventually have other things, I'm sure. Okay, so event, we're going to call this event endpoint. And yeah, we'll still have our normal list. That's all good. But instead of returning event templates, we're going to return an event list. And we want to await event, just event.db, which, okay, we got it. And we're looking for any. We're going to, we don't need to include the event. Oh yeah, what do we want to include? We want to include event, but we don't need these things. What actually is on an event? Let's look at our event YAML. So event has these sorts of things. Everything else, it gets to the event template. So we want to make sure we're including the event template. This might be a good time. I think it's just called template. Yeah, event template. I just want this without any autocomplete. .include. And let's just open this again. We essentially want to include the same things that this includes here. So we'll copy this in here. Now there's a bit of, like we have this duplication thing. I want to try and think of a good way to reuse these. I don't know if in my head I have the exact pattern that I want to use right now, but we're going to at least do something. Now let's just have like a helpers folder, and I'm going to make something called event helpers.dart. And let's just make a class called event helpers. And here we can kind of have some static sort of things. So let's have an event template include static. It will return something, but essentially what we want to return is all of this stuff here. So let's just try returning that. I'm probably missing one closing thing based on my colors. And then we get all those things. Okay, let's do that. And actually, I'm going to call it include event template. And what does this actually return? Well, I guess it's going to return. Is this what gets returned from this? No. Let's just make this a something temporarily so we can actually see what this actually is. It's an event template include. Okay, so that's what we're going to return from here. And we will just go and return it. Okay, so we have that. I'm also going to make one for an event include. And here we can actually, what we really want to return is our template, and we can actually use our event helpers dot include event template. And this, is the same name. This should just be include event. That's why we're having that error. Okay, so what's cool about this now is we can actually use this. So for our event endpoint, we'll actually just get our event helpers and take all of this, place it, event helpers dot include event. Maybe that's not the right word for this. The right name for this. Maybe we'll just kind of reverse it, and this will be event template include. So now we do this. And this, obviously, event include needs to be changed here. Okay, so we can do that there, and then in our event template endpoint, similarly, what are we doing here? We'll just do the same thing. So now for our include, we can just go to event helpers dot event. So putting this in a class is not actually really giving us any value or anything other than like organization. These could just be obviously one-off functions and not be static, not even be part of a class. But I think this is just nicer to keep things organized. I like, especially with helpers and stuff, to have them sort of namespace into this. That way we just don't have these random functions we're calling and not knowing what they are. And rethinking about this, because really this is for events and event templates, I think we're actually going to rename this. So I can go rename symbol, and I'm going to call it include helpers or something, right? And doing that refactor symbol will, change it everywhere in our project that's referencing it, which is really nice. And let's also then rename this to be called include helpers. Includers. include helpers. I may rethink the naming of this, but this will then allow us also, where else might we have something like this? Probably the user. So we have something like this. So we can also do right up here, static, and this would be I guess, user include, and we can call this user include, and we basically would return this. This is just letting us have all of our, basically our standard joins and stuff like that Serverpod is going to be doing under the hood to include this information for us. Because remember, in the database, all that's really stored is an ID. This actually will get us the full object back. So we kind of have a centralized place for all this. And then unless we're trying to do an optimization somewhere to not include something because it's not necessary, we can just rely on these and change them as needed. So that's kind of my thought process here. Okay, so we'll do the same thing. Include helpers dot user include. There we go. I'm also considering, these don't really have to be functions. They could be getters, but I could see a world where maybe we need to pass something in. So we'll just keep them as functions. Okay, what other endpoints do we have? Let's look at the asset endpoint. Nothing handy, fancy there. Here we go. We should also do one for venue. So let's have, and in fact, we'll do a venue here. It's more important. So this will return a venue include, and we'll just call it venue include. And we essentially want to return this. And what's cool about this is, yeah, we can now, instead of doing the user include like that, oh yeah, actually we're doing this on purpose. We don't want to actually include the user info in the venue because that would expose things like their email and stuff like that. So although like we could use this, we don't actually want to. We really just want to use the normal user include, get us the user, but not the detail within it. Okay, cool. And in fact, we should probably rename this maybe. Let's rename this to private user include. And then maybe we can do something similar for public user include. And what this would return is just the user include. There, that's cleaner. And then basically right here, where we're doing this, or sorry, where's venue? We would essentially, just to keep things kind of following the same pattern, we can use the include helpers dot public user include. And then right here, it is our venue include. Oops, what am I copied the wrong thing. Include helpers dot venue include. Cool. Okay, there might be more, and if we find them, like I bet we're using them somewhere along here, maybe in the retrieve. Oh, we're not actually doing the retrieve. I feel like we should do the same with list and whatever. So let's just fix that real quick. We're basically just going to do this, and it's nice because now we have one centralized place for this. If we ever decide, oh, we don't want to, include a certain property, we can do that. So let's do that. Okay, when we're saving a venue, what do we actually return? We return the venue. We do return the venue with everything. We should probably kind of do the same thing here, or oh wait, update row doesn't. What does this return? Oh, this is wait, this returns a venue. Let me just see something. V equals this. Turn V dot. Yeah, I guess you can't get that data again. Okay, well that's a problem for another day. Okay, let us get back to what we were trying to do. So here we have our, okay, this is our event list. We're getting our results and we're including that just as we did. Get it back, cool. Retrieve, we can do that same thing, include, and use our include helpers.event include, just to make sure that when we retrieve, we also get that data back. Include helpers.event include. Oh, because we didn't update this one yet. This should be event. There we go. Excellent. Okay, and now what I want to do is I've tried this in different ways on other Serverpod projects. There's multiple ways we could do what I'm trying to do. Basically, what we want to do is we want to have an endpoint that only gives us events for a specific venue. We could go into here and have something like, venue ID equals this and make it optional. And that's fine, it works, but I find it's actually just cleaner, even though there's a little bit of duplication to do this. And if we start to duplicate a lot, we might refactor. But what we can actually do is have something, and I like to just use whatever the name of the model is. So we would go like event endpoint.venue, require that they pass in the venue ID. So we can either do that as the second name, or really the first name parameter, or we can just do a required int venue ID here. Then what we want to do when we actually find them, we'll come back to this one, we'll have to do the same thing there, but we can do a filter. I have to remember how to do this. I think it's where. Oh yes, so let's put this, I feel like where maybe is the second, can we do it as a second clause? Looks like it. And let's remember how this works. So this is, I think, the row, and we want to go where row dot, So it's getting events dot. Oh yeah, we have to go through the, because we don't have the venue on here. Can I go through dot template dot venue? I should be able to. We can do dot venue ID dot equals venue ID. So this will essentially filter by that sort of stuff. All right, and we're going to also, because we're doing the count, we need to also account for that in our account. So again, a little bit of code duplication. We can probably make that better by kind of saving this where clause. Because what is this? This is a expression dynamic. Let me see if we can do something like this. And we'll just call it like filter equals. Can I just like create an anonymous function like this? I don't know if I can easily. Okay. Let's see if I do a extract method. This might, nah, it won't because it has a closure. Cannot extract closure as a method. It references one, whatever. Okay, I'm not gonna worry about it. This is fine. We're just filtering by this, filtering by that, and we'll get stuff back. Okay, that's mainly what I want to do on the back end. So let's stop our server, and we're going to run Serverpod generate just to regenerate our new things. And we can restart our server. Okay, now, yeah, we have this whole new endpoint here we'll be able to make use of. Let's go to our event service here. So our event service so far has only been working with the event templates, but we have what to do here to do stuff for actual events. So let's kind of copy this. And we're just going to call this, instead of list templates, just list. This is essentially listing the events. So in this case, it's actually an event list that would come back. And we will do client.event template. No, client.event. Okay, so what I've found seems to work the best when we're dealing with this issue, when we're not getting the the updates in VS Code. Restart analysis server. And then we should actually see that this becomes a real thing now. It looks like, well, stuff's kind of loading, but we're good. Cool. So yeah, that seems to work the best, rather than like closing things, rebuilding, like trying to fake it by opening the file. But okay, there we go. We got our event list. And then what we're going to do here is make one called venue. That's going to work the exact same way, except we are going to require an int of a venue ID to be passed in. And we just change this to venue. And this now is saying, hey, you need to pass something in, and we'll do venue ID. So this works the same way. It just, this is going to go to basically the new endpoint we made, which is this one right here, venue, and just get back ones that we are filtering where this equals that. Okay, so now what I want to do is we're going to go to our, we have an event provider already. This is event, or maybe we don't even have an event provider yet. So let's make that. Let's just find our event template. Oh yeah, we have it. Okay, we have the event template one. So I'm going to look at this. We're going to copy this. It's going to be kind of similar. And we're going to call this event list provider. .dart. Paste it all in. We will rename this to just event list, and also rename this. And this is the one that's going to be used for the global, all the events essentially. And we might find that we don't even use that. We probably will. There'll probably be a place to be like, show me all events. Cool. But this is just getting the obvious stuff out of the way, a typical event list. We need to remember to rename this. And the state of this, paging controller event, this is just going to be event. Okay, let's look for the word template. There we go. So ref.read, this will be event service provider. It's just going to be .list. And I think that deals with everything. Okay, so let's save that, and let's get our little build runner running. I'm going to run it using this extension and also have it watch, because we're going to be making some more changes. And no, this is right. Yeah, event list provider. Okay, cool. So doing this generator should actually give us access to ref and make all these errors go away, and it will be a lovely time. Okay, we are good. So that's fine. We're not going to worry about integrating that yet. That will be something we'll use in the future. But what I want to do now is make another one called event, or this still is inside the event feature, in my opinion, because it's about events, but it's going to be specific to getting ones for a particular venue. And now that I think about this, we could do this a little bit drier. Do not repeating yourself. Let's try this. So what we're going to do in our build function here is we're going to, well, first of all, we're going to make an enum called list type. Event list type. And we're going to have one that's called all and one that's called venue. And we may potentially, have other ones, all that kind of stuff, but we'll just do that for now. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to make we're going to turn this into essentially a family. So I think we've used families before for maybe not in this exact context, but we have used them. So what we're going to do is make the first parameter an event a list type, and we'll just call it type. And then there's going to be a second parameter of an int. It's going to be a nullable int, because sometimes this will be irrelevant, and we'll just call it arg. So I'm going to save that, and hopefully I didn't mess anything up because it's been a while. Okay, I think we're good. So now the way this will work is when we're calling this, we're actually going to pass in a type and an argument so that we can actually use this same thing, the same provider, more or less, with multiple instances of it based on the combination of type and arg. So now when we're calling data, it's going to work a little bit differently. So we'll always be getting back essentially something like this. So I'm going to actually make this a variable here. We can still do final, but it's going to be late because it's actually something we're not going to instantiate right away. Instead, we're going to switch through our type. So type is just this value right here. Now that we have that, we can do a case, and we can do event list type dot all. For the case of all, it's basically going to work the same way as we did before. So we can just go result equals this. Let me just break, see if that's the problem, or is the problem that we already have this here? Let's see. There is some problem here. Oh, maybe it's because this should be late final. Did I mix that up? That's partly why. Okay, what's the problem here? The value of type either where event list is defined can't be. Let me just see. Final either. Oh, wait. I feel like I messed something up here. Let me just see what's going on. What is this supposed to be? What is this event list? Let's do this. I bet you, oh, that's probably why. So, yeah, we're referencing this. Okay, this is a bit of a problem because as soon as I create this, it now thinks I'm talking about this, which we're not actually talking about. And I'm pretty sure I can't just name this anything I want, but we're gonna try that real quick. Succeeded. The problem is if I call this event list provider, that'll work, but then when we want to reference this in our code, it's going to be called like event list provider. Like if you look here, somewhere in here, there'll be some reference to something, provider, yeah, event list provider. Okay, new plan. So what we could do is, okay, we'll need fp-dart. What we could do in our, where's this actually coming from? It'd be coming from probably this client. I'm just going to try something real quick. I'm just going to do as SP, like Serverpod, maybe SPC, or I guess client is fine. So I'm just going to see if this will solve this problem. Basically, I'm scoping like anything in this package to be part of this namespace. so that whenever we get stuff, we are fine, and it's not going to conflict. Now, what do we have these other errors for? Result is already defined. Oh, get rid of that. Okay, so we can do that there, which means we can actually do the same kind of thing here. We want to use client.eventList, and then I'm going to put this back in. We're going to comment this out and put the break tag. Okay, now we're good. So that's a little bit annoying, but it's just because we have the same name. We could call this like event list notifier, but that just gets so long. Event list notifier provider. It's too much. Okay, let's see what this is telling us. It's telling us there's another thing. So here's where stuff gets fun. So if it's case venue, then we essentially are going to do something pretty similar. Result equals this, but we're going to use .venue. And then for the venue ID, we are essentially going to use that argument. So we have this argument here, but it is technically nullable, which, yeah, is a bit of a problem. So we could, do like an assert arg does not equal null when we get into this case. And that will tell us as like a programmer, we screwed something up. The other option is we could kind of fall back to something if it is null. I'm going to go with this approach for now. So we're just asserting that it's not null, and then we're doing this here. This will, crash, but this is, if, this isn't null. But this is kind of one of those things that we kind of want it to crash instead of behave in a buggy way, because once we have this working, it will just work. That's what I'm thinking for now, at least. And then, yeah, so this is kind of cool because we can essentially use, use the same provider for multiple things. I think that'll work. So let's try it out. So now we have our event list provider. Let's go to our event detail component. And for now, we'll end up putting this probably in a another thing, but let's just play around with it. Let's do a ref.watch, or now let's just do this semi-properly. Okay, event list. So we have a component. We have our event template list component. Let's copy this and make another one called event list component .dart, and just rename these event list component. And we can, instead of using this, we use our event list provider. That's the one we just worked, but you'll see we're getting this error, and it's because it's expecting us to pass something in here. So we're going to figure that out now. Essentially, we want to have, in a similar way, we'll have an event list type called type, and then let's have a final int arg. So we're following kind of that same thing, and we'll just go this.type, and we'll make that required. And we're just going to do this.arg. It's not required. Okay, so here we will essentially pass in the type, and we will pass in the arg, just like that. Okay, then what is going on here? It's saying our paging control. Oh, because this should be a type event, not event template. And for this, let's just return text. This will be just an event, and let's just use event dot. Let's just do event dot description, falling back to like no description. This is just temporary, so it's all good. Okay, we'll get rid of a couple files we don't need, and let us put this here. So we'll use our event list component, and we need to pass in a type. So the type will be event list type dot. We're in the venue page, so we want to use the venue, and then the arg we actually want to pass in is our essentially whatever the ID of this is. So we can just use venue.id, just like that. And let's just see if anything magic happens. Okay, I'm in this. Let's just rebuild. Let's also debug console. We do have some weird errors. This could have been from a while ago. And let's go to Harvey's. And look, we got this thing. And that's actually, that makes sense. So we're doing a, we have kind of like a list view inside a, where did you go? Where did it go? we have this, we're already inside a single child scroll view and like a column, and this thing is just going to essentially, doesn't know how much space to take up. We could solve this, I believe, although the single child scroll view might screw this up. Let me just see. We're gonna try a couple different things here. Do it in an expanded. Sometimes after those errors, you kind of just have to rebuild. We're still gonna have that error, and it's because we're in, yeah, single child scroll view. Okay, for now, what we're going to do is allow our list component to essentially have a Boolean of shrink wrap. What shrink wrap will do is it will allow, instead of it just trying to take up all the space and be scrollable, it's just going to take up whatever space it has. Actually, that might be a problem because this is a paginated thing. No, I think it'll still be fine. Okay, event list component. So we'll pass shrink. Oh, I guess I didn't actually do that. This dot shrink wrap. We're going to make it default to false. Oops. And then similarly, we are going to have to do this to our own custom component here. This dot shrink wrap equals false. And then I believe, is it in here we would do it? Yeah, shrink wrap. And we'll just use whatever that value is, which will be false by default. And then go. So here, and we need to make sure we pass shrink wrap in to our event list. Our infinite list is already going to just use it. And then here we want to say shrink wrap true. And I did that right, didn't I? I probably, yeah, shrink wrap, got pass through. Okay, cool. So we're good now. We have this. Now, it's kind of weird because it like, there's this list here and it's like scrollable within like this scrollable thing. And this is also kind of a bad thing just due to this is like an infinite scroll situation, but for now I think it's fine. It's not fine just as it is, but we're going to go with this like shrink wrap approach, except I think we're going to make this, shrink wrap. Like I'm trying to think of a better word for this, because what I kind of want to also apply to this is there's like a physics, what's default for this? It can be null. So what we could just do is if shrink wrap equals true, we would use, it's like no physics, like I don't remember what these scroll physics are called. We might have to Google it. It's like never scrollable scroll physics. That's what I'm looking for. So we can just use this here. Otherwise, we fall back to null. And I think this will solve kind of that little thing I'm seeing right now. Let's just go again, because now it doesn't actually like have its little scroll. It will scroll with the content. I think that's what we'll do. And then that way we can technically have multiple lists in a row if we do that. As an example, let's just make sure I'm right about that. Let's put like 3 of these, and we should see they're good. And if we want to have a lot of fun, let's just make sure the actual screen itself will scroll. Not quite there. So yeah, there you go. These are all their own lists, you know, essentially, as you can see here. Okay, cool. Let's get rid of all that though, and then we'll actually work on making the event list component not just be nondescript. Yeah. All right, I realized when I BRB'd and I did not put my audio back on. So what I'll do is, it wasn't that much stuff, but I'm going to sort of re-record just kind of a quick walkthrough of what we did. Okay, so I made a small mistake after pausing the recording for a minute, and I didn't put my audio back on for that last little thing that I did, which you, if you're watching this on YouTube, did not see yet. So all I'm going to do is walk you through what we did real quickly, because it was actually, maybe there's actually a blessing in disguise making the video shorter, because there wasn't, it was a lot of just sort of like repetition and stuff like that. Essentially what we've done here is we have our lovely, you know, component here, and now we can go and actually see this. So we have this detail screen and all that's good. So let's actually start from there. We essentially created, I'm going to go kind of backwards just to see it all linked together. So we have our lovely event detail component, which is just, the UI itself for the event, already knowing the event itself. And it's very basic right now. It's just, putting in the event's description and falling back to no description if that's the case. This is called from our event screen, so our event detail screen here. And this works just like our event template screen. We're passing in an ID. The route is different. We don't have the word templates in here anymore. And we're using our event detail provider, which if we actually look at our code for this, is really just going and hitting our retrieve endpoint on our event, which we very quickly added. Just, is very much, and that's why I like this. This is fine. I think that I missed some audio here, and I'm just showing you this way because it's really the exact same thing as this, just doing it with an event and using the event endpoint to get something back. And actually, we can get rid of the word template there. So this is our detail provider for that. It's a family because the ID is actually something that will allow us to have multiple instances of these caching it. Back on our screen, we're just going and passing that through. And then, the route itself, if we open up our event routes, we just created a new one for our event detail screen, which is, again, just like our event template detail screen. And that allows us to, of course, in our event template list component, which calls our event, let me find it, event list. Yeah, we have our event list here, which we've already seen. I'm going to also fix that there. And this tile right here, although it just has some very basic stuff like the title and the subtitle, that's really just temporary right now. We go and we use that route and push it through. So there, that's kind of just an overview. And of course, if you are a member of my YouTube, you can of course just look at the source code in greater detail. Also, if you don't want to do that, it's pretty, it's pretty basic. You can basically just follow everything we did previous, maybe like 2 videos ago for the event template, and kind of do the same thing if you happen to be following along. So yeah, that's it. That's it for this video. And we're going to probably get back to auth maybe next if we don't want to flesh this out more. I think that's what I want to do. There's stuff like we want to register, we want to, we have a way to register. We have all the hard work done for that. We just don't have the actual UI for it. And right now, when you actually like log in, essentially, there's like, if I try and just log in like this, we're kind of brought to this screen that doesn't exist anymore because it existed when we were kind of building it. So we're going to just get that, I think, all fixed up in the next one. So yeah, thanks for watching, and see you guys again.